Hi, in this training video, we'll introduce you to Literably's new phonological awareness assessment, a foundational skills assessment that Literably is currently piloting. Here's the agenda for our training. Our goal is to answer three main questions. What is Literably's new phonological awareness assessment? Why should we assess phonological awareness? And finally, how do we use this phonological awareness tool? We'll cover the first two questions fairly quickly and spend the majority of our time on the how. More specifically, we'll look at how you can log into your account and assign the assessment to students, what the student assessment experience is, and lastly, how to understand your student data. Let's dive into the first question. What is Literably's new phonological awareness assessment? Literably's new assessment is an online tool that screens pre-K to early elementary students for phonological awareness difficulties, monitors their phonological awareness progress as emergent or early readers, and diagnoses skill gaps in phonological awareness. How does this assessment work? Well, in a nutshell, your students will listen to simple directions given verbally by a friendly animated character. Your students will then follow those directions by speaking into their device to complete certain tasks, which are presented as games. We will then use the same transcription system that currently scores Literably's oral reading fluency assessments to score these recordings. And as before, you would receive your students' assessment results within 24 hours. Some of this may already be familiar to you, but here are some reasons that we find compelling and that motivated Literably to develop this assessment. One is that phonological awareness is an early predictor of reading success. On the same token, oral reading fluency data alone is not always sufficient for identifying those in need of phonological awareness remediation or where to target interventions. With this in mind, we hope that this tool will help you to understand your students' phonological awareness skills in order to inform your instructional next steps. And finally, we hope that by taking on the grading of these assessments and digitizing this data for you, this will save you valuable classroom time and free you up to take those instructional next steps. Before we dive into how to use this assessment, we want to briefly share the main phonological awareness skills that Literably is currently assessing through this tool. On the left-hand side of this table are the names of these skills. In the second column are the sample prompts or questions that will be asked of the students for each of these skills. On the right side of the table, you can see that deletion, addition, isolation, segmentation, and blending are all skills that are currently included in this assessment. However, the first time that students take this assessment, they will only be assessed on the first 4 skills. Each assessment will include 4 to 7 questions per skill, and moving forward, we hope to add new skills, such as substitution and rhyming, to the assessment. We may explore making the assessment adaptive to the student's performance, and we may include all skills in each student's first assessment. Now that we've covered the what and the why, let's switch gears and look at how to use this assessment. First, let's take a look at how to log in and adjust your dashboard to assign the assessment to students. To log into Literably, you would use the same method that you would normally use to log into your account. Depending on your district or school, you might do this through Clever Single Sign-On, ClassLink Single Sign-On, or at literably.com/login with your email and password. Once you've logged in, you can assign the phonological awareness assessment to your students by clicking on the drop-down menu under the Next Assessment column. In the menu, you will see phonological awareness and oral reading options. If you select phonological awareness, then that student will be presented with a phonological awareness assessment the next time they log into Literably, instead of the regular Literably assessment. We can see on this dashboard that Joe March is scheduled to take a phonological awareness assessment in Literably. Let's now log out of this teacher account and log in as Joe to see what the assessment experience looks like. Just like teachers, students should also log into Literably in the same way as they normally would, either via Clever, ClassLink, or by going to literably.com/login. We're now going to log in as Joe March and see what the assessment looks like from a student's perspective. We'll first hear some introductory instructions from the character Rudy, and then we'll demonstrate how to respond to the prompts and navigate through the assessment.
Hi, my name is Rudy. We are going to play a game with words and sounds. Here's how the game works. I will ask you to say a word like birthday. Then I will ask you to say the word without a sound. For example, if you hear the word birthday without birth, what's left is day. Let's try another. I will ask you to say a word like dog. Then I will ask you to say the word without a sound. For example, if you say the word dog without d, what's left is og. Say, I'm ready to start playing the game.
I'm ready to start playing the game.
Say picnic.
Picnic.
Now say picnic without nick.
Pick.
Say table.
Table.
Now say table without bowl.
Bowl.
Say flower. Say flower. Now say flower without
Flow.
Say fun. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Let's try again. Say fun.
Fun.
Now say fun without
Un.
Say pig. Say pig.
Pig.
Now say pig without
Ig.
Now we're going to try a new game. Here's how the game works. I will ask you to say a word like up. Then I will ask you to say the sounds you hear in up. You would say all the sounds you hear in up. P. Let's try another.
Here are some features you may have noticed in the video of the assessment. The microphone icon will flash green to indicate that it detects your student's voice and is recording it. If the device does not detect any sound, Rudy may prompt your student for the answer again or move to the next prompt. If you need to pause the assessment at any time, you can press the pause button. You can also log out of the assessment and return to it later. Unlike in the main Literably assessment, if your student resumes the assessment at a later time, the assessment will pick up where your student left off. If your student needs to hear the directions again, you can click on the Replay Instructions button. This green progress meter displays how much of the assessment your student has completed. And when your student completes the assessment, they can click Log Out, or they will automatically be logged out after 10 seconds. The assessment will then be scored within 24 hours. When your students take this assessment, especially the first few times, we recommend sitting next to them or in close proximity in order to provide guidance or help them navigate through the assessment. As they get more comfortable with the new assessment, some students may eventually be able to assess more independently. Now that you've seen the student assessment experience, let's take a look at how to find and interpret your students' data. Let's start back on your teacher dashboard page. Notice that currently, students' phonological awareness assessment results do not yet appear on the main dashboard page, but we are working on getting this information onto the teacher dashboard soon. For now, the best way to see a student's results is to click on the student's name. So let's click on Jo March to view her assessment history. At the bottom of the assessment history page, you will find your student's foundational skills assessment results. For each assessment, you will see the title, whether it has been graded or is paused, a scaled score, how long the assessment took, and when it was submitted. And here you can see the assessment that we were just taking with Jo that has been paused. For more details, let's click on the title of a graded assessment. Here on this graded assessment page, you will find a lot more details about your student's score, as well as what happened when your student answered the prompts. At the top in the results box, you can see the type of foundational skill your student was assessed on, which in this case was phonological awareness. Instead of returning an accuracy percentage, as we do in the oral reading fluency assessment, here you will see a scaled score. The scaled score takes into account the student's grade level and the difficulty of the prompts they were given. The scaled score formula is calibrated using Literably's internal data, and the color coding can provide information about your student's risk level in phonological awareness. For example, red means below grade level expectations, yellow means approaches, and so on and so forth. Also in the results box, you will see the status of the assessment, which might say graded, grade pending, or paused. Under skill performance, you can see that we've broken down your students' raw and scaled scores by each specific phonological awareness skill that was assessed, which can help provide data on which skills to target with your students. At the bottom of the graded assessment, under item performance, you will see some very granular information about your student's assessment. On the left side, you will see each verbal prompt that was delivered to the student by Rudy during the assessment. Under the response column, you will see a transcription of how the student tried to answer the prompt compared to the correct answer. The correct answer is typed in black text, and the red notations indicate what the student answered if they did not get the answer correct. For example, on this first prompt, there are no red notations, and the response is in black text. So we know that Jo answered this one correctly by saying un. For this prompt, however, if is displayed in red and the text here is grayed out. So we know that Jo answered this one incorrectly by saying if instead of I. Under the audio column, you can play back the recording of how your student answered that prompt. Under score, you can see a record of whether the student got the prompt correct. 1 out of 1 indicates that the correct answer was given, and 0 out of 1 indicates that an incorrect answer was given. Under grade level, you might see PK, K, or 1. Currently, this is a shorthand for the difficulty level of the prompt rather than the grade level of the student. Finally, under the skill column, you will see the specific phonological awareness skill that the prompt is addressing. Before we wrap up, we just want to share a few final notes regarding this assessment. First, this assessment is currently only available for students assessing in a web browser, so on laptop or desktop computers and Chromebooks. An iOS version for iPads is in the works and will be forthcoming. Second, unlike for the main Literably assessment, teachers currently won't receive a notification email when an assessment is graded, although this will likely change in the future. Finally, the assessment is in a pilot form and is continually being updated. So some of the images and features you've seen in this training may be slightly different from what you and your students will see in Literably. If you need any additional information about this new assessment, please visit the Literably Help Center and click on the new Foundational Skills Assessment icon. Or if you need to get in touch with us, please feel free to reach out via email, phone, or the Contact Us button on your teacher dashboard.